episode today. This is the Now Talks, a collection of inspiring personal stories and leadership lessons from some of the world's most iconic leaders. It is the weekly podcast for women in leadership, brought to you by Nations of Women. My name is Dr. Tina Alton, and I'm your host for today and the coming weeks. Welcome again to another episode of the Now Woman Talks, which is the podcast for every woman in leadership. So I've been reading a book about decision making as we prepare for one of our kids going to university very soon. I think in different parts of the world you call it college. And so, of course, there's lots and lots and lots of decisions that we need to make as parents, and decisions too that our child also needs to make as the one who will be going to study. And so we've been having some really interesting time. And what I really want us to think about or talk about today is really looking at how our decisions shape the direction and the quality actually of your life. So every decision that you make or every decision that you do not make equally is what crafts the story of your life. So imagine for a moment how different perhaps your life will be, or how different perhaps your story might be if you are making decisions with a greater intention and clarity. And so I want to invite you today to join us as we explore the transformative power of making informed decisions, informed choices. And we're going to spend this time really focusing on the profound impact of your decisions. Every decision you make, big or small, influences your life, and it can either simplify or equally complicate your life. Now, by understanding and applying what I call the right parameters or filters, you can begin to make life transforming decisions that are fully in alignment with your goals and your values and what you've been called and created to be. So here are some of the key points that I think are worth mentioning. Number one is you've got to understand the decision, the impact every decision you make would have on your life. You also equally have to understand the impact of every decision that you don't make, how that would affect your life. You also want to think about how important it is in terms of your intentions behind every decision you make or don't make. Your intentions could be, you could look at maybe your motives. Every intention, or there is an intention behind every decision that you make or you don't make. Thirdly, you also want to think through and have in your toolbox what I call parameters and filters for making decisions, good decisions that can, help you in your life or help propel you forward. Number four is how do you learn from bad decisions, right? How do you actually learn from decisions that were not so great? Because the truth is, we're all human beings, and sometimes we make decisions that are not entirely good or great. But I think the good part in all of that is when you are able to actually learn from your bad decisions, then you now have set yourself up for, being able to make better decisions. Perhaps when you face the same situation or similar situation, in the days, months, or years ahead. Number five is how do you actually make decisions? So we're going to look at some decision-making tools. This will include some pros, some cons, how do you find advice? And of course, always every week, I provide us with an actionable challenge. And number six, finally, is how do you commit to the actions that you're going to put in place as far as making, decisions in your life? We're going to look at some practical applications. And then, of course, we will give, I'll give you the summary and the full um, takeaway as well as a call to action. So let's get right in. As I said at the beginning, um, every decision you make or you don't make has a profound impact on your life. Every decision, whether it's big, whether it's small, whether you make it, you don't make it, influences your path. It can simplify or complicate your life. You've got to have parameters and filters. When you understand these, you can then begin to make life transforming decisions that aligns with your true goals and values. And I gave us already 6 points. So let's go right in. Number one is understanding the decision impact. Number one, or the first point under that, key thought is the cumulative effect of your decisions. Small decisions, it doesn't matter how small they are, can accumulate. Everything compounds. So, for example, if you're going to read every day, accumulate over time or accumulated over time, that can lead to substantial growth in your knowledge and even your perspective. For example, just 10 minutes a day of reading can really help to shift your perspective on perhaps how you see life or how you see a certain, situation or subject or whatever it is. But although yes, you can read 10 minutes today, sometimes you have to be like that, where you have to read something very quickly in order to make a decision. That's very different. But I'm just talking about overall your life, that there is a cumulative effect in the small decisions that we make as we choose to make those decisions on a daily basis. The cumulative effect often can be quite pleasant. The decision impact also helps to shift trajectories. And this can include minor changes, for example, in your habits. And habits could be maybe choosing healthy meals, choosing to be healthy. And I'm not advocating you got to go and sign up for a gym membership, but we all know that how we eat and how we stay healthy has, impact on our overall health. So having small changes or making those small changes in your habits overall, for example, in just these two areas of, what you're eating and how you're staying active can impact your health over time, which ultimately reduces your risk of other, serious sicknesses. There is also unexpected opportunities that can come your way as you begin to understand the decisions that you are making. So, here is an actionable challenge. I want you to take a moment to take a pause and reflect on a recent small decision that you made. Now, I want you to consider its cumulative impact over the next year or even over the next, 6 months, because we're still in July, which is the seventh month. And then consider the cumulative effect or impact of that, between now and 31st of December, and maybe track that and let us know. Right. Moving on to point two, where I talked about your intentions, your motive. Your decisions, whether you make them or don't make them, should be somewhat aligned to, your vision, your goal in life. You have to have a vision. For lack of vision, the people perish, right? So you have to have a vision for your life. You've got to understand what is the vision that you have. And then you have to prioritize your life, be intentional. For example, maybe about your time. Now, if you're thinking, well, I'm very busy, I don't have time for my family, my kids, then prioritizing family time ensures that the decisions you're making are purposefully directed and helps to create a balanced life. So it can be a client or a meeting that might come up, and because your vision, your intentions are there. My intention is to have a balanced life. That makes it easy to say, actually, you know what? Hey, I'm not going to be able to, take that, whatever it is being offered, because that encroaches on my family time. You've got to also have focus and clarity. It's good to have, the right intentions, the right motives, the right mindset even, but you have to have clear intentions, such as, clear intentions on your focus and clarity of your vision, clarity of your life, clarity on where you're headed to. And these will help then to guide your daily actions, because your actions form part of your habits, and your habits now form part of your character. And so you want to be able to be mindful of, the daily actions that you are taking. Right. So the daily actions that you're taking, prioritizing your task. You also want to reduce how much you're regretting, because I said at the beginning, we're all human beings, we all make mistakes, we all make bad decisions, but you cannot keep, your life in limbo because you're regretting a decision that you made. When your decisions are aligned with your intentions, they're aligned with your vision, they're aligned with who you've been created to be, these all help to minimize regrets, because they are truly, your decisions will now then be truly rooted in what truly, truly matters. So, the actionable challenge here is write down your top 3 intentions for the year and review them daily. What are your intentions for the year? We're in July. Maybe you set them in January. I don't know. But if you haven't set any intentions, you haven't set a vision for your life for this year, then it is time to set that out, because there's still 6 months in the year. So write down your top 3 intentions. So what is your top 3 focus? What's on your radar for this year? And then review them daily. Let's move to point number 3, talking about having parameters and filters. First thing under that is you've got to have values. Your values will help to anchor you. So having values like honesty, maybe compassion, these are all decision filters, and they ensure that choices you make remain true to your principles. So if you're going to make a decision, that means you would not be honest, then understanding your value that, I'm a person of integrity, that I'm, a person that is trusted, I'm honest, then that value that you hold for your life now begins to anchor you. And we all know what you do an anchor. An anchor is what keeps you stable. So that is a good, decision-making parameter or filter. Is this decision going to make me stay honest? Is this decision, emulating the compassion that I choose to walk with or live by? I don't know. That is a question for you to ask. You also want to have a long-term vision. Your long-term vision is a parameter, it's a filter, having that, filter of what's my long-term, vision. That really helps in terms of decisions made with a future focus, because as I said at the beginning, right, one of our children's going to university, they're not going next week or next month, they're going next year. So we're making decisions today that have a future focus. And so us being able to, set those values to anchor her, what's the long-term vision, all of those things I shared at the beginning, and now is directing is directing us, is also directing our daughter in the decisions that we're going to make, because we now are making those decisions with a future focus, right? So third parameter or filter, avoid being impulsive. Now, I'm not saying don't be adventurous. You can be adventurous, and that's great. It's great to have an adventurous spirit, but don't don't be impulsive. Prevent, snap judgments that you may be making a very snap decision because you're judging something without actually taking time to understand maybe the person, maybe the situation, maybe the circumstance. You've got to allow yourself to be able to take that pause so that you're now making decisions not based from a place of judgment or, self-opinion, but you're now able to make good decisions that are based on actual factual facts. And it helps you to avoid choices that might lead to regret, um and these include simple things like impulsive buying handbags or shoes or whatever your vice might be. So an actionable challenge here is create a checklist of what is your top three values. Now use these to evaluate your next major decision. It's like making it, wearing glasses. The glasses becomes the filter. So if your glasses has, I don't know, red tint in it, everything you look at would, have that red tint, added to it. You can't do anything about it. So it's the same as the filter and the parameters with which you're looking at, your life. And so your values matter, they anchor you, have a long-term vision, don't be impulsive. And your challenge is to create a checklist of your top three values and use it to evaluate your next major decision. I then talked about learning from bad decisions. When you have a growth mindset, you're now able to recognize, actually, you know what? I made an error. I made a mistake. However, I am able to learn from these bad decisions. That's what you've got to be able to say to yourself. And that's what you got to know is that you can learn from it. And when you're able to, recognize that, that's partly having a growth mindset. View mistakes as learning opportunities actually shifts the whole focus from I'm a failure, I failed this, or I'm not good enough, or whatever, filling the blank. It shifts the focus from failure to growth and equally fosters resilience. Patterns. Next point is analyze some of your past decisions. Do they reveal a specific pattern that can help you perhaps to, understand the choices that have been making up to this point? Understanding or recognizing, for example, triggers, right? For when you're making poor financial decisions. Now, that's all I can think of is that as women, this is quite prevalent. We've seen it time and time and time and time again that it's very easy for us as women to make poor financial decisions. So you want to take some time and look at your patterns on that one. Learning from your bad decisions also helps you to build resilience because when you have a setback, it's all part of, progress. It's all part of being able to go further forward. Is that sometimes we will have setbacks. So as you understand these setbacks as a part of the process, this helps to strengthen your ability to face future challenges. You've got to learn to be resilient. So the actionable challenge is identify a past decision that did not work out and list at least 3 lessons that you have learned from it. Moving on to our 5th point is having decision-making tools. There's a pros and cons list that you can have or create. And the idea is that they provide a balanced overview of our suppliers, right? Pros and cons list provides a balanced overview of your options. It helps to clarify your choices. For example, if you're thinking of perhaps changing your career, changing, where the path you're already on, then have a pros and a cons, and then make a decision from there. Again, seek advice. right? Decision-making tools. Sometimes that the best tool is actually to seek advice. Find a mentor, have a mentor. I can't overemphasize this. Have a mentor in your life, because having a mentor in your life, especially when you have to make life-changing decisions, helps to bring you sound and diverse perspective. It enriches your decision-making process and will help you to avoid blind spots, because these are people who've already been through, who'd already gone ahead of you, and they can help you in being able to make decisions that will avoid those blind spots. So, an actionable challenge is use a pros and cons list for your next big decision and discuss it with a trusted advisor, or discuss it with, your mentor or your coach. Likewise, if you're not sure, by all means, you can reach out. We'll be more than happy to support you. And now for our um, final point is commit to action. Follow through. You have to turn decisions into actions. These brings your ideas to life. Consistent effort in a new project, for example, is going to be key to your success. You have to overcome fear, because fear will stand in your way of being able to make a really good decision, or when you allow fear to overwhelm, and you succumb to it, you will embrace uncertainties and it will completely destabilize you. But when you learn to overcome fear, this art or ability to embrace uncertainty with courage now allows you to make bold moves, allows you to stand boldly, allows you to be resilient, and allows you to be able to move forward with a renewed mindset, attitude, and everything else that you need at that time, perhaps courage. Now, accountability is very, very important when you are making decisions, or perhaps you've made decisions. Some decisions, once you make them, actually requires accountability. And the best thing you can ever do for yourself is to allow somebody to hold you accountable. It's like setting up, systems to help track where you're headed to. It can be your progress, it can be your commitment, it can be your focus, it can just be, anything. But most of all, I believe that it helps and keeps you on course, being able to move forward. As far as sometimes we make decisions and we need accountability. So here's your actionable challenge. I want you to identify one decision you have been putting off, and now make a commitment to take that first step today. So hit the reply button or the comment button and tell us, what is the one decision you've been putting off, and commit to taking the first step today. Even if the first step is write it down, that is a step. There is no big step. There is no small step. Every step is a step towards the future. Now, that brings me to our up and coming, fourth summit here at Nations of Women. And we've got some incredible, fantastic lineup that offers, there's workshops that will help to redefine, our decision-making skills and equally boost your confidence. It also gives the opportunity to network with your peers and provide you with fresh insights and potential collaborations. Of course, we're all about empowerment. So this, summit will empower you to make informed, impactful decisions through shared experiences. Now, here's the actionable challenge. I want you to sit back and think, what is the best way that you can grow yourself as far as making decisions? What is the best way you can grow yourself? Now, some practical applications. Spend a few minutes each day. Just reflect on the decisions that you have made in that specific day. What are the outcomes? Now, when you look at the outcomes, you want to think about, was this a rushed decision I made because I was judging, what filter? Just go back through all the tips, or the key ideas that we've been through already. So spend a few minutes each day, reflect on the decisions you've made and the outcomes. I also want you to write down in a small book, for example, so that we can trust your decision-making patterns and learn from the form. Um, and keep Spend a few minutes each day, reflect on decisions that you've made and the outcomes. Keep a journal to help you track your decision-making patterns and learn from them. Have something that sets your vision, for you, because for lack of a vision, the people perish. You have to be able to see, what are my goals? What is the future that I'm looking at? And once you're able to set that up and visualize it, it actually helps you in guiding you and making good decisions. So maybe a vision board is something that you want to look at. Now you also want to join a community, to have around you, mentors or community of women that you can engage with, women who are like-minded, and that you can engage with for support or perspective. Participate. You only get in as much as you only get as much as you put in. So if you're looking for better outcomes, then you have to spend that time, with other people, whether it's your mentors or your peers or whatever it is. But you have to remember that this journey is not just you. And so just isolating yourself can often lead to not so great decisions. So in summary, we have explored the power of the decisions we make and really its impact on our life. Some of the key points I mentioned included understanding decision-making impact, setting your intentions or your vision, establishing parameters, learning from your mistakes, use decision-making tools, and commit to action. And also connect, through to the women's of Nations of Women. Connect to us. And the key takeout is that your intentions and your motives will inform the choices and the decisions that you make. And this can lead to growth and empowerment, or it can lead to regret and stagnation. So if today's message has resonated with you, then I invite you to let us know, how has it impacted you? How is this speaking to perhaps your current situation? And how can we best support you? And if you also haven't applied for the Nations of Women Summit, then this is your invitation to apply for an invitation where you can now come to grow, to connect with a community that is supportive. And as always, you can always visit our website for more information. So until I come your way next week, let's continue to empower one another in this journey. God bless. And that's all for this week. You've been listening to Dr. Tina Alton with the Now Talks, the weekly podcast for women in leadership, brought to you by Nations of Women. All that remains is for me to say, have a fantastic week, stay safe, and reach out if you need any help now at nationsofwomen.com. Until next time, enjoy the pursuit of your potential, and remember, now is your time.